Hello again, Struckweb. Today I'm bringing you another Torchlight 3 early access build video, again for the Forge like yesterday, but this one is with the Blood Drinker. I've decided to make a non-Egg of Mayhem build, and this is the result. I called it Punchbot Drainalot, a forged Blood Drinker build, and the name comes from the Bunches of Punches skill, which is called Rapid Strike. And then Drain. Drain is the skill I maxed out from the Relic 3, and I think it's a great skill, and I think you might like the build. If you like AoEs, if you like being able to drain and heal, you might like it. Of course, it takes some gear to get that survivability going, so you don't get one shot, because if you get 1-2 shot, you can't heal up. I mean, maybe 2 shots, if you heal between both of them, you can kind of survive, but you have to be careful. Even with the 50% damage reduction shield that we've taken, and the 70% damage reduction, which kind of tops it at 90%. So fighter spirit is 70, but the shield we get is 50. This allows us to reach the 90% damage reduction. Even then, on practice, which is the easiest difficulty, I can still get 1 or 2 shots from certain things, which I guess is just a problem with practice, not with the build itself. But yeah, it's definitely fun build. At first it starts kind of slow until you get it going, until you get the right stats, the right weapon with physical damage. And keep in mind, with this build you would really need a physical damage weapon. I like the combination of the Dance of Death and then Blood Seekers on bosses, and then we have some healing from power projection. I like the punching stuff. I wanted this to be a Cyclone mode build, but Cyclone mode right now is kind of unbearable to play, so hopefully it gets fixed soon to be like it used to be. The damage is nice. I'm really liking the damage, especially if I burst it. So I'm gonna now show you first the skills, and then after that I'm gonna show you the gear I suggest using. So I hope you enjoyed this rest of the video. The skills for this build that I've decided to pick are kind of interesting, and hopefully you understand why I've selected each of the skills. I'm gonna quickly show you each of the skill trees if you just need to see the numbers, if you don't need the explanation. But let's start explaining now which skill I took and why. Keep in mind that this is with +2 skill levels in Barrage and Brawl from the Cuirass and Helmet. So you won't have the same levels of the skills I do, unless you have those 2 items in a combination with another one of the Mountain King items. In my case I was using the gauntlets, but the hatch is not a bad option either. So either combine Helmet, Cuirass and hatch, or Helmet, Cuirass and gauntlets. So now that we've gotten this out of the way, let's talk about the 2 barrage skills I've taken. Sonic Pulse is taken just so we can make the enemies vulnerable, so they take 40% more damage for 6 seconds, and the tier 1 bonus also allows us to stun enemies, and the tier 2 bonus also gives us relic energy charge rate, which is great for builds where you're using relic energy skills that cost energy, that are not like this one, just on a cooldown. Then Ventco Launch by itself, we're not using it, we're just using the tier 2 bonus, which is 25 damage to vent skills, which means vent Vortex Bomb gets that 25% damage, which is, I think, a great thing. If you don't want to get that bonus, you can save those points and spend them elsewhere. You would be seeing some screenshots of different ways to spend the skill points. I would also talk about those ways. For example, those 4 points you might want to spend on Fracking Strike for more cooldown, which would make Vent Vortex Bomb have lower cooldown, or you might want to get crit chance for the bro skills from Servo Driven Uppercut, which would give you extra crit chance for Vortex Bomb, for Rapid Strike, and even Ramming Robot. So not so bad. So I additionally wanted to make this a spin to win Cyclone mode build, but it's currently, I hope it's broken, because if that's intended behavior, the way the skill works is you're just spinning in one place without barely even moving. So you're stuck spinning in a place like a madman, and it just feels wrong. It's nothing like the old Cyclone mode. I'm hoping this is a bug and it will get fixed. If it isn't, then Cyclone mode builds are kind of dead on arrival. Hopefully they change that. So that's why I decided to just remove my Cyclone skill points and go for a Rapid Strike. And Rapid Strike is great because we normally take it up to tier 2 in most of my bro based builds. So now what's a few extra points, 4 extra points just to get the tier 3 bonus. So it gives us damage for itself, for Ramming Robot and for Vent Vortex Bomb. And we also get it to attack faster, we get it to do nice damage, so it's okay. Ramming Robot I've taken up to tier 2 for the damage to relic skills, and I think this is super nice bonus when you're stacking damage to relic skills and when you're buffing a specific relic skill like me up to max level, like Drain in my case. And then Power Projection tier 1 bonus. With a single point, with the 2 points we get it, and this lets us heal our allies and ourselves for 15% of our total HP on start of this skill. Now here we are to the fun part of the setup, Blood Drinker. Since I've already done 2 Mayhem builds, builds that are centered around the Egg of Mayhem, my one rule when starting to make this build last night on my stream was don't take Spinning Blade, don't make another Egg of Mayhem build. And I was wondering, alright, what should I do? And I took all 4 skills and then I liked Drain the most. And I decided to just max out Drain. And it ended up being a pretty nice skill. In fact, some of my viewers said it looks a little bit stronger. I say it's strong enough. I mean, I'm playing on practice, so it's supposed to look a little bit stronger than it could be. Keep in mind the damage of this skill is nowhere near, for example, if I go for a Sword Smash or a Chaotic Strikes build, but it also heals. It also heals, it's a good AoE, and it also can spawn self-homing missiles. So 10 points in this one, 5 points in Energizer for Relic Energy Charge, 3 points in Dance of Death because I think it's okay, but you can even go for 1 point Dance of Death and save 2 points. You can also go 1 point Blood Seekers and save another 5 points, and then those 6 points you can spend if you want to be using swords, one-handed swords. If you have a very good road one, you can use this and make your relic active skills like Drain even stronger. Living Barrier, I think 1 point is enough. If you want you can put more points, but I think it's better to just keep it as a 1 point. I don't like the knockback particularly, because I like keeping the enemies close to me with that Vortex Bomb to keep pulling them. So this kind of reduces the incoming damage, so gives you 50% damage reduction for 3 seconds. If you want that extra duration, that's 25%, which I think is what, 0.75 seconds. So it's not gonna be a big increase anyways, unless you have items that give you duration, I guess. And then you get also healing, 20% of your max HP per second, so that's 3 ticks of 20%. So with this one, within 3 seconds you get 60% of your max HP healed. This one also heals you 3%, actually 6% of your max HP per enemy hit. I'm not sure whether this 3% is added on top of the 6 or the 6 already includes it. I forgot to pay attention when leveling this one up. So this one also heals you, it heals you 10% HP per second, and it doesn't have a fixed duration, it just keeps draining your energy. At the tier 2 bonus it drains less energy, and it's pretty nice. And the Bud missiles heal for another 5% HP on hit, so it's pretty nice. I normally save my ER, which is the Dance of Death and Blood Seekers. I save those for big boss fights. Then I pop Sonic Pulse, then ER, and then I start spamming Drain. And that's how I do it. Of course I do Living Barrier at the start and save Power Projection for when it's needed. But yeah, I think the build can offer great survivability. And here's one of the most important things. I left it for last, maybe I should have led with it. This is Bloody Chalice. Bloody Chalice, I'm not using it for the healing and for the chalices. I'm using it for the 50% physical damage. That is a lot of damage, guys and gals. So I think at least one of my viewers last night said that the poison and shock relics also get 50%, but the fire and ice only get 25% of that damage. And that damage, if you're using a physical weapon, just look at that. I'm gonna remove my leg armor, and then this is the weapon I was using when recording the footage, which is 3658 and 632 physical damage, and that adds up to around 4300 roughly, but we're actually getting 6435. Now I add that 652 and that adds around 900 more. And now after recording my maps, I opened a blue gear bundle at 59 and I got this rifle, and this is gonna be my new weapon. So just pay attention. I'm gonna remove this, and now this rifle is supposed to give me 6415 physical damage. Boom, it gives me 9622 physical damage. Yes, it does give me chance to bleed and damage with spinning blade. The bleed chance is nice, the damage with spinning blade is not nice for this particular build. But now after I equip my leg armor, boom, 10,599. So my DPS with 221 crit damage and 28 crit chance already at 17k. With 59 items and 57s and 46s, so things can be much better if I make them better. See, I also get damage with drain, but more about gear stuff later. I hope that was enough of an explanation regarding the skills and why I've taken them. Now let's quickly show you the legendarium, and keep in mind my legendarium is not the way I would like it to be. I'm missing some items that I really want in the build, but until I find them, that's what I'm using. Now let's show you. Arc powered threads. I'm using arc powered threads, which gives me the chance to gain 25 relic energy when using drain. You can, if you want to sacrifice a lot of stats from items, you can try and use that on your gear, which means you would have to go for either hatch or gauntlets, whichever you're not using as a mountain king, then the shoulders, and then the threads is arc powered. I would strongly advise not doing that, because it's only gonna go from 10% to 20%. Yes, it's double, but it's still a low chance. But feel free to experiment. I'd rather keep it in here. Then I'm using Drat Snack Band and Quicksilver, which are just fillers for now. Ideally I would be using something called Phase Breaker. The Phase Breaker allows us to, when casting Rapid Strike, to fire a piercing projectile that deals Rapid Strike's weapon damage. So this would be in that slot. I would have arc threads, and then the third slot would be probably the Mountain King hatch, but actually Mountain King hatch I really don't think is needed for this build, because we're not using spinning blade, so scratch that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything better out there that we can use. Raging Beater is nice, so let's say we go for Raging Beater, Arc Powered Threads, and Phase Breaker as the best in slot items for the Legendarium. I don't think you need Skittering Shoulders for survivability. This build has enough survivability buffs. If you do end up needing it, feel free to remove something, either the Raging Beater or the Phase Breaker. I would suggest that you replace the Raging Beater if you want Skittering Shoulders. But yeah, let's say you wanna do certain other things with drain, and there's other threats you can put, other leg or automatons that you can put that proc when casting drain. So just to show you, Skittering X would allow you to use Spew Acid, which would go well with melee builds, and the Woods Beast legs would allow you to burn enemies to drain them, which you see deals some extra damage per second, but I think apart from the arc powered and the skittering, the other one doesn't seem that good. So I think that's pretty much it. for the legendarium, quickly let's talk about pet skills. Right now I'm using Deadlier Strikes as an aura, and auras, you cannot stack the same aura twice in multiplayer, so if you have 4 people you can stack Increased Awareness, Defender, Deadlier Strikes in running partner, otherwise I would suggest just stick to Deadlier Strikes. Then I'm using Battle Cry for damage and Defensive Posture for damage reduction or defense, and then Healing Friendship for heals. You can replace maybe Defensive Posture with Immobilize so that ranged enemies don't run away, but I really think it's better to do it that way. Now, enough of the skills, let's show you the gear I'm using, and after that show you some more gameplay. And here we are at the gear segment, where I'm gonna tell you some of the things that I think you need to wear. So first of all, for the Mountain King set you need 3 pieces, and the 3 pieces I would suggest would be helmet, chest and gauntlets. I said something about the hatch, but I don't think the hatch is good for this build because you're not using spinning blade. I totally forgot that spinning blade is not part of the build, so ignore what I said in the skill segment. Just get the helmet and the cuirass for the +2 skill levels, and as a third piece I strongly suggest going for the Mountain King's gauntlets. The rest you would want good, decently wrought blue shoulders, hatch and locomotion. For the cannon, keep in mind the cannon is just a stat stick. You do not care about damage on the cannon. All you care about is the rows under the damage. So the less damage a cannon gives you as a rows, as affixes, the better it will be, because that means more affixes for the regular non-cannon damage, which is what we're using. So things like relic energy cost reduction, like minus relic energy cost or plus relic energy generation, things like damage with drain, like in my case amazing damage with drain, things like cooldown to Vortex Bomb or damage to Vortex Bomb, definitely good stats, damage with with not slammer skills but with bro skills, or damage with another of the skills on the relic that you use. See, things that are not damage or crit chance or crit damage related, because that would only work for the cannon damage and only for the skills that use cannon damage. So in your case it's not good to go for anything that has any sort of damage or crit in the cannon. That's only for the cannon. So in my case this 17.2% damage with drain is a great thing. Even chance to burn and chance to shock and things like that would only proc with cannon skills, and I don't think we can proc them with Sonic Pulse. I still haven't asked the developer whether we can proc burns and shocks with Sonic Pulse, which is a skill that doesn't do damage but stuns with tier 1. So hope that it's clear why and what I like to take on the cannon. So for the weapon you need either a very good physical damage two-handed or physical damage one-handed. If you're going for one-handed, you might as well try to get a one-handed sword and maybe use the passive that gives you up to 25% relic skill, active skill damage when you're equipping a sword. So in my case it's this rifle with physical damage crit chance, another physical damage and then another in the socket, which gives me a great amount of damage. You can see just the damage that it gives me is, instead of 6.4k, it's giving me 9.6k with the 50% physical damage passive we've got. Then for the legs and any other places like a seal, try to get more physical damage. Whether it's flat or percentage, I think flat would be better. You already have 50%. Then other things that are that are good to try and get is faster cooldown for things like living barrier or more damage for drain, vortex bomb damage, vortex bomb cooldown like this thing here, things like that. In general, try to get things for vortex bomb mostly, dance of death, drain, all the skills that we're using. I would suggest don't get ramming robot cooldown, it's not worth it. So I think try to boost Vortex Bomb and Drain as a priority. The highest priority should go on Drain, and for Vortex Bomb you probably would want to be boosting the cooldown. Damage with Rapid Strike is also nice, damage with Bro skills is also nice. Damage with Dance of Death, you're only gonna be using that on boss fights probably, and saving it. Bloodseekers, I don't think we wanna boost it, but it's better than not boosting it if you have something that's like shitty thing like Shock and stuff like that. I mean, Shock is not bad, but I wanna focus on the physical with this build. Crit damage, crit chance, definitely something you need. Block chance, evasion, defense, HP, definitely good things. Basic attack stuff, avoid it. Gearwork is not bad, so you might wanna get it, but keep in mind some maps get up to 50% gearwork from the map, so don't get your gearwork more than 50 or 75% based on whether you're running 25% gearwork maps or 50% gearwork Fazier dungeons. So ideally you wanna get the crit damage to 300%, which is the limit, and then the crit chance to a decent number. Keep in mind this gives you 20% crit chance after spending venting 75 heat. So that 20% crit chance would be added to your other, so keep that in mind. What are we missing? For the pet items I like using the Dryad neckband here, and then I like to use things with attack speed. Phoenix token is not bad, token of rapid bartering is not bad as well. So yeah, I think I showed you some good things that you can get, but again remember physical damage is a priority on the weapon. If you find yourself a good fire weapon, save it for a build with another relic. Something like this I would save for a fire damage based build like on my other forged for example. And enchant with physical damage as well. Enchant when you can with physical damage on the weapon, regardless whether it's one-handed. I mean, for most of the footage you saw me recording, actually for all of the combat footage I was using this weapon. And my damage with that weapon is like from 12.8k, this runs up to 17k, so big difference, and I still haven't even tested this. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the gear in regards to what to get. Hopefully it was clear. Again, blue here, blue here, blue here, or green if it's better. And then here ideally you would have a good road blue one with 2 or 3 sockets, if 3 sockets is even possible. I've seen a pistol with 3 sockets, but it might have been a bug. So that's it for the gear. Now let's show you some more combat footage. And here we are at the gameplay segment where I show you some more gameplay footage and I talk about how I like to play the build. First of all, Drain. You can do it two ways. Either use it as soon as it's ready on bunches of enemies like a group of enemies, or save it up for spamminess on a lot of enemies. I like kind of alternating. When I think there's a lot of enemies clustered up, I'd rather drain them and kill them within one drain, or one drain and a little bit of follow-up, maybe 2 drains. Or sometimes I would just save up so I can have at least 50 energy, 75 energy or so I can just burst down a champion. You can see I'm not playing in a specific one way because it's something new for me, so I'm still experimenting with what works. But normally I'm saving my relic activation, the 200 energy build up skill, the one that's called Dance of Death, and I'm saving up the Bloodseekers for when they're needed, for bosses. Otherwise you're using the Rapid Strike, you're using Ramming Robot to move around. On my number 2 I've put the shield build, the shield skill, and then I'm using when needed even power projection. And Vortex Bomb of course for venting. Needless to say, Vortex Bomb for venting. Try to build the energy to 75. Right now on the public test realm we can't see the heat. Try to build the heat at 75 before venting so you can get the crit chance bonus. Right now, as I said, on the test realm the heat meter is kind of broken, but that's probably gonna be fixed for the patch on Tuesday for the live server. So I hope you enjoy seeing this build in action. I personally think it's something different than what I've played, and I think it's nice, and with the right gear, with the right way of playing it, it can be very strong. I didn't expect Drain to be this strong, but it really is, and it's understandable for this skill to not do as much damage as other relic skills, because this heals you, so you can't expect it to be OP damage and also heal you for the energy cost you've got, but the damage is not bad still. Nevertheless, it's pretty good to use. So let me know what you think about it yourself. So this pretty much sums up the build. If you'd like to get notified when I upload more content, you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss the content update notifications. The content you would expect to see on my channel is builds and guides and info news videos, as well as other type of content for wooters of all sorts, RPGs, ARPGs, tactical RPGs, shooter wooters, and other things in between. Thanks for watching, keep it cool, Struckwop, and until next time.